Okay, let's a little bit more about email. A lot of people, tend to, and this kind of goes to the formality of email, whether we're casual or very formal. But people do things in email that they would never think about doing, um, in real life, face to face. It's kind of like people who pick their noses in their car on the interstate or in traffic. They somehow think they're in this bubble and that no one sees them. People tend to treat email that same way. Okay. Um, one another good tip is use blind carbon copy very wisely. It tends to create distrust in an organization if everything you do is a BCC. Um, if you are using a bunch of addresses to sell out, send out to your whole mailing list, email it to yourself in the two, and then put the others in the carbon copy, not the blind carbon copy. Don't leave your don't send emails without really thinking about it, especially when you're mad. So sometimes we just want to, type it out and get that aggression out. It helps just hitting those keys. But don't put a name in the to box. If, once you get done and you have a chance to cool down a little bit, maybe you will realize I really shouldn't send this. But sometimes we go on and put it in that to box, and we send it, and then we regret it. Okay. Be sure, of course, when you go to work, you're going to have an email address that coincides with the company where you work, law firm, or wherever it is, the agency. But even in your personal email, don't have crazy names. I've told you this before. Don't have Hot Mama 123. Um, you know, be cognizant of that email address. Okay. Here's another statistic or a fact from some research. Email recipients put more weight on who the email is from than any other item when choosing which ones to open, which emails to open, which ones to delete. So make sure it's your reputation precedes you. Okay, when it comes to email. When you are filling in the subject line of an email, it should answer the reader's key questions of what's this about, why should I read it, what's in it for me, and what am I being asked to do. Okay, be clear in your subject line what this is about. Okay, sometimes you'll get an email and the entire content of the message is in the subject line. But when you open it and you see nothing in the body, you think, well, something's wrong. They didn't send me everything they meant to. You can put this little tag on it, this EOM, which means end of message. If all you need to convey you can get in that subject line, that's okay, but make sure that the reader knows that's all that's in the message. Okay. Um, just be cognizant of that subject line. Um, and also be cognizant of who you're sending it to. Here's a war story. A employee was insulted by a general email from the boss, and the employee sent an angry comment to a colleague. She thought, saying, "Does she think we're stupid?" And then undoubtedly she had replied, "All." The reply from her boss was, "Yes, I do." Okay, how many of us have had a complete heart attack when you realize or you think that you have sent an email to someone that you shouldn't have? Um, I'm always so pay close attention to make sure I don't do that, but we all make mistakes. Okay? Before you hit send, make sure you review it, proof it, delete anything like negative comments about the management, criticisms of staff, uh, salary information, product liability issues. So, product issues or liability issues, because that can come back to haunt you through discovery. Okay? Gossip and humor and other ambiguities. Okay? Write so your emails are easy to read. Write them like you would a letter. Make them into paragraphs, short paragraphs. Don't make it one long paragraph. Put in a blank line between paragraphs. Use bullets, numbers, anything that might help the reader understand the information. Don't use all caps. If you don't already know that, that signals that you are shouting. My husband has gotten himself into trouble doing that when he first started doing email. He's an assistant principal, and he would send out an email to his staff, and it would be in all caps just because that was easier for him to type. He's not a good typist. He's a hunt and peck, and so it's easier to just turn on all caps. But one of his staff members said, are you mad? Why are you shouting at us? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it was because he was using all caps. Okay. If a message is longer than 3 screens, send an attachment. Okay. In an email, brief is good, blunt is not. Okay. For example, if one of my students asks me, should I pursue an advanced degree, and I just say no, well, that student can think, okay, does she think I'm not capable? Why doesn't she think I should do it? Be brief, but don't be so blunt. Here's an example. I don't think an advanced degree would have any effect on your potential for promotion here or promotion at your job. There, you're explaining that no, and it can't be misinterpreted. Okay? Use a greeting. I always say, put the person's name. Don't just start typing. It's bad form. Okay? I usually just use that person's name, and I sign it with my name, not just the digital signature on my email, but I usually put my name when I'm at the end of the email. So why do we have this concept of netiquette? It's kind of equivalent to that, making sure that you know what salad fork, fork to use when you eat your salad, following table etiquette. Okay? It's not just a set of rigid rules. It shows that you have respect for the reader and for yourself. Okay? So here are the results of our survey on etiquette training. 83% thought it was necessary to have etiquette training. Okay? For themselves, though, only 5%. For everyone else, 95%. So be concise, use proper spelling, grammar, and punctuation, use proper sentence structure, and format your email to make it pleasing to the eye. Don't write in all caps. Use active voice. Avoid long sentences. Answer all the questions from the email that was sent to you. Don't discuss confidential information. Use a meaningful subject line. Be careful about abbreviations. Make sure that the reader will definitely know what your abbreviation means. Emoticons you probably don't want to use except in personal emails. You'll see once you go to work in a law firm or a company, there's usually going to be some disclaimer on all their emails um, to say, if you got this email inadvertently, please let the sender know, and please, you know, do not, read any further. Blah blah blah. Does that really do any good? Probably not, but at least you've made an attempt. Um, use carbon copy sparingly, especially blind CC. Do not overuse reply to all. Um, don't request delivery and read receipts. That is the most annoying thing that you can do. If someone sends one to me, I automatically, when the box comes up to say, please, the sender wants to receive a read receipt, I go, no, I never. It just, you know, hits me the wrong way. Do not forward chain or hoax letters. You do that recall message, but it really is, the original message is still in the receiver's box. Then they just see one that has a recall. They're still going to open that first one. So, what really, truly, why recall a message? Don't overuse the high priority option. Don't mark every single email urgent if it's not truly urgent. Okay? Email is not effective if your message is long and complicated, if it's highly confidential or emotionally charged. That's probably not the time to use email. Okay? All right, this is the end of the videos for the communication skills section.